Oh. Oh. Uh-oh. What is this? Woo! We did it. Took like 3 days. 3 days, and we did it. Heroes. Oh. Beautiful. I'm coming for you, Zeef.
Yo, what's up, boys and girls? Swolelax here, and I'm back at it again with another video. Something a little bit different. Today, I'm going to be talking about how I made it to King of Games using only heroes in roughly about 3 days. So let me go ahead and go into this real quick, and we'll show you. So I made King of Games. I have 96 cumulative victories here, but I did play a little bit after I got to King of Games. Didn't go super well, but I did win some games up there. But actually, if you guys go on to my Twitter at Swolelax, you can see that I posted the video on there immediately after I got King of Games. I was so hyped, I was so ready. I got around 90 cumulative victories, took about 3 days, and I played actually 2 decks from the beginning of the season, or beginning when I started playing a couple days ago, up until now. So a little bit of background for it. Let's illuminate, so to speak. That was just kind of goofy. I played 2 decks primarily this season, and I played a couple of decks previously before. I've been playing Duel Links for a couple seasons now, so to speak. If you guys don't know, Duel Links resets their season roughly every single month, and it kind of resets your score, and that way you can get King of Games. For me, my highest ranking previously was Legend, and that was 2 seasons ago that I did with Masked Heroes. Last season, I only played for roughly a couple days, and then the season before that, I'll explain to you what I did. So let's actually go ahead and go into the card studio here. We can jump into more of how I made King of Games this season in such a short time and why that came to be. So if you scroll up here to our structure decks that we have this one right here, which is the Destiny Rulers structure deck. The structure deck is so good. I highly recommend if you're going to the game, going to free to play, or going to just play in general. It comes with a lot of great staples for the Destiny heroes or playing heroes inside of Duel Links. Even these trap cards aren't necessarily that bad. So what happened? So in the first season I ever played, I was a strictly free to play player, and I literally just got this structure deck from the gems that you got at the beginning of the thing, and I got into I think like I was kind of bad, honestly. I was like gold 3. I was like, oh, cool. And then the season reset. I'm like, oh man. And little did I know that I was playing only literally a day before the season started, and I got to like gold 3 with just the structure deck. It was insane. Next season comes around, and I got another structure deck, the Destiny Rulers. I got a little more cards, tried pulling a little more things, and I got all the way to Legend. It was insane, by playing just a really rudimentary version of the Destiny Hero structure deck. And then I also tried playing around with another structure deck. But in that time, I kind of learned the game. I was playing with full power for full hires, or fur power full hires, full power fur hires, and I was also playing with Amazonas. So we're playing with him, so I'm playing against full power Amazonas. And then something amazing happened. Over the last 2 ban lists, Amazonas and Fur Hires got smacked down by Konami, and thus gave way for Heroes. So I got bored of Masked Heroes for a while, and so I decided to make this pretty neat, pretty budget kind of deck comprised of the structure deck of the Heroes Rising structure deck of whatever, and then also adding, of course, Elemental Hero Wildheart, which was amazing against Amazonas because of its immunity to trap cards. Absolutely crazy, absolutely insane. And then you can play cards like their Needle Ceiling to get rid of their monsters as well. It can set up a board. It'd be crazy. And he's a 1500 body. It's actually pretty nice. And with the skill Heroes Dwell, what happens is that whenever your guy, whenever your hero monsters attack one with the higher attack points, then you can just boost up its attack points to 1,000 if he has a higher thing. So these guys become 2,500. This thing becomes 1,800 standard. This thing has 2,500 again. It's crazy good, and it's pretty insane. And then recently I just pulled a second hand key, so that was there. And this is kind of the deck that I was playing with for a majority of the season. Of course, we got 1 copy of Witch Raider, you know, the Oceans, 3 copies of Heat. We got our Wild Heart, mass changes to go into our Goka and our Vapor. Vapor is actually really great, especially from cards like the Trap Hole card that everyone's playing, the one that destroys 2 monsters. And then we got some staples. We got some Paleozoic Canadia and also Wall of Disruption. These cards are actually pretty crazy in the game. Widespread Ruin as well. This one not necessarily under controllers, just okay, especially right now in the format. But like essentially, what you have to do with certain decks is you have to add these cards into them just to kind of make them a little better, so to speak. I mean, it's kind of a weird fallacy, right? Like in the TCG, whenever you're talking about decks that are bad, quote unquote, you don't want to just stuff them with hand traps and say, oh, they're good now. But with Duel Links, you can kind of have some leeway with it. It doesn't really forgive a lot of the deck's weaknesses, but overall, this thing carried me all the way from Platinum 1 to Legend 1 this season. It was amazing. I was like, or not even sorry, Gold 1 all the way up until Legend 1. It was crazy. It was insane. I didn't realize the deck would do so good. Part of the reason why that is because you have Witch Raider, which you can mass change into Enki, and Enki's just so good. But in addition to that, they're all pretty big beaters, and they have a lot of good control here, especially because they're immune to stuff like Wild Hearts, so Wall of Disruption your opponent plays. Really good card, and this thing's actually incredibly budget. It is really good. If you guys are just starting out in the game, it's pretty user-friendly as well. You do have to kind of get lucky and or you know, kind of grind a little bit for these really good staples right here, the trap cards. But overall, it's really great. You can probably just get away with playing Curse of Anubis and all that jazz. But I highly recommend if you guys are getting into Heroes and you guys are playing Duel Links, this is a great deck to get into. It's really fun. It's a lot. I just grabbed the card up. It's really fun. I like playing it a lot. I'm offering some great times. But then once I hit to Legend 1, that deck just wasn't cutting anymore. I was losing, and then I moved on to the big boy deck. Masked Heroes with Destiny Heroes. Absolutely crazy. So with the addition of the 5Ds guys world coming out, you get a dream ticket where you could get a free Anki. So I was missing only one Anki, and I pulled another one, which is where those other two came from the other deck. And so we have 3 Ankis here to complete this deck. And oh my gosh, it is so good, guys. You have no clue how much this deck carried. I played this exact deck list all the way through King of Games for my 5-game win streak. It was crazy. And maybe we'll upload some replays here sometime soon just so you guys can see how the deck functions. But essentially, Destiny Hero Decider is really good at the moment just because you have cards like Blue Eyes. The Blue Eyes are a pretty prominent deck right now. They can't swing over it, but it's also just a great card for reoccurring value if you need to. Destiny Hero Celestial, you could honestly have at 1. However, I haven't it at 2 just because it's a nice 1600 body. Essentially 1600 Destiny Hero and mass change equals game, which is crazy. Drill Dark is just, it's so good, especially because it does piercing damage, so all the weak defense points monsters are good. 1 copy Vion. Funny enough, Vion is really interesting because I feel like it makes the deck better with it being at 1. I don't know how to explain it, but in previous seasons you don't necessarily rely, or in previous season you rely a lot on Malicious to get your plays off, but in this season you're playing Vision Hero Vion at 1, so you can't reliably go into your Malicious plays, which I think for me was perfectly fine. I was like, man, I'm enjoying this deck so much more now. Cosmic Cyclone just to get rid of some problematic cards and to facilitate the OTKs, and of course 3 copies of Mass Change, because what would happen is that you have Master Anki. What it would do is you would attack, destroy a monster with Drill Dark, or maybe you don't do that and you go into Anki with Mass Change after you do your thing. And then after you go into Anki, what you can do from there is if you destroy a monster, then you can add back a Mass Change. And so after you add back the Mass Change, then you just Mass Change Anki again and swing it for more damage. It's such a powerful card in Duel Links. I would not be surprised if it gets limited or if it gets hit on the ban list, but for right now, it's such a great card. Oh my gosh, it's so powerful, and in addition to that, it can attack your opponent directly for 1400. So what ends up happening is that even let's say you don't necessarily get off the OTK where you mass change and you mass change and you mass change, well, you are still in a position to where if they can't get Anki off the board the turn after you attack, you're more than likely going to win anyways because they can just attack you, because Anki can just attack your opponent for 1400 damage to begin with. I won't copy Polymerization just because we want to go into the Trinity or even the Dangerous, which I think these 2 cards are just kind of flex cards. You could honestly just run this deck with 3 copies of Anki. You don't really need it, but sometimes you just need a big body to get on board, or just to use Polymerization and then mass change over these guys. Of course, them being dark, you can change them into Anki and then go on to the combo from there. Vision Hero Trinity can facilitate a lot of the OTKs, which is really great. And then of course got some control cards with Canadia, Wall of Disruption. Canadia is really good against the Spellbook matchup, including some of the Amazon matchups. In addition to that, let's say you have an Anki out on board and you're facing the mirror match for cards like Destiny Hero Decider. Well, Anki cannot destroy Destiny Hero Decider unless you flip it down with the Paleozoic Canadia, which is actually really good. That came across in a few of the games, I think when I was going into Legend 2, which helped me out there. And then Wall of Disruption, obviously having your opponent's monsters at super crazy low attack points is fantastic. So that's just a good card in general. Just a fantastic lineup in general. If I had to change this deck up a little bit, I would maybe say just have Cosmic Cyclone go for something like Galaxy Cyclone. But that card's actually really great right now, especially because you can banish it to destroy a face-up card. That's really good. And maybe just other than that, I would maybe check out the one copy of Polymerization. Sometimes it was good, sometimes it wasn't, but that's really about it there. But the real reason why this deck did really well is the skill. So the tie that binds is actually a really common skill for a lot of protagonists to have, and that's that until the end of your turn, your opponent's attack points monsters in the field gain 100 attack points times the number of monsters. So let's say with Drill Dark, right, you start with Drill Dark and a Celestial. Well, you can summon Drill Dark, get Celestial, and boost both those monsters to 1800. That does extra damage to your opponent with Piercing, and if you want to attack a little bit, you can do Destiny or Celestial and gets 1800 rather than 1600. Any type of incremental damage really helps in this deck. It honestly is absolutely fantastic. So what was I saying previously in terms of why the other ban list affecting other decks got wrecked, and thus this deck became good? So essentially what happened is that inside of this side of this ban list, what you end up having is that the other decks were so good that this deck couldn't really shine. But now, since this deck wasn't really hit on the ban list, it was already really good to begin with and could also facilitate OTKs, which is really prevalent inside of Duel Links. You have such a perfect recipe for the heroes to be tier 1, to be not tier 0. It's a pretty fair meta at the moment, but a tier 1 contender. This deck is so great. So I highly recommend if you guys have a little bit more of the Skrilla, a little more of the gems saved up, go for this build. It is the big boy build of heroes. It is amazing. I personally like it a lot. It was something that carried this this king of games, so to speak. It was actually amazing, and you have to have 3 copies of Anki. I cannot stress enough how good it is to have 3 copies. 2 copies is fine, but there were so many times where I was like, oh man, I just need 1 more copy, or if I just had 1 more thing to match change into, then I would have won. So really, really try to save up and really try to hit home on these 3 things. 2 of them could be fine. You could do really well with them. And also, in addition to that, I have to explain that this is not just an auto-win deck. There are times where you do have to have some pretty skill-intensive play. You have to kind of weigh your options in terms of when to use your trap cards, when to activate your Cosmic Cyclones, and even whenever to save/set your mass change. There was plenty of times whenever I had to set a mass change instead of have it in my hands, and then surprise my opponent later on it. There are certain things with this deck that I do recommend you take caution on. But if I had to also make 1 more change, if you guys do not have Jaden, if you guys do not want to use Jaden and his ability, I would recommend maybe using something like Bandit Keith, Kaiba, Yugi, or anyone that has balance. So this is a slightly different deck build because it has more trap cards and less spell cards, or less monsters, excuse me. I took out 1 copy of Decider for this deck. So what happens is that now a pretty common and really popular choice is to do the balance build of Destiny heroes. And the reason why that is because you have to have your trap card, spell card, and monster. It is guaranteed to open up 1 of them inside of your opening hand, because what balance does is it allows you to, it gains you cards equal to the balance, quote unquote, of your deck. You have to have 6 cards of each type, trap spells and monsters at least to start. So what would happen is that you would start the duel, you get Cosmic Cyclone, maybe a mass change, a monster, and like a trap card, which would be the most ideal thing. You have a little bit of defense to go on with. You have your OTK, you have game with mass change and a Destiny hero. Sometimes you get Vion, which is it's okay. And then or you get Cosmic Cyclone, which is just absolutely great because they set 1, because a lot of times, and a really common maneuver inside of Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links is to go into set card, face down defense, set 1 card, pass. And that's actually a really powerful play. If you have a really good deck, that a lot of decks can't get over that. But great thing, open Drill Dark, you do piercing damage, you Cosmic Cyclone, destroy the thing, Drill Dark, Drill Dark, summon another thing if you want to. If not, you just piercing damage, mass change, and then go from there. It's such a crazy power move and can win you a lot of games. But back to what I was saying about balance. So balance is only available with a select few characters at the moment, so you can't play it, fortunately, your boy Jaden, your fan favorites. However, it's not the end of the world because, you're winning games versus playing your favorite anime hero. One of the two. And honestly, a tie that binds us is just a great skill in general, with the boosting effect, great for the mirror matches. But I think balance overall is probably just a more, how do I put this, a more consistent way of playing this deck, especially because you already have so many good ways of OTKing with your 1600 bodies and your mass change, of course, and your 3 Enkis. But just having the ability, if you go first, to open up a trap card or open up 2 trap cards to help you kind of gain control over your opponent, and then going into your games, is super good. In addition to that, opening up Cosmic Cyclone and or Paleozoic Candina and a Wall Disruption, just amazing, especially because this deck has a lot of problems going first. I forgot to mention that both these decks, in addition to being great OTK decks, really prefer to go second. And anytime you see the coin flip and you see that red side of the coin pop up, you're like, oh yes, higher chance of winning. Essentially, it just increases your chance whenever you go second because you can deal with their board, you can dismantle the board, and potentially win from there. However, if you go first, this deck in general, without balance or without some luck on the other skills, does have a problem whenever you see the I side of the coin, because what happens is that if you don't open up any trap cards, then you're like, oh, well, I guess I can just, you know, have these guys be destroyed and lose some value and lose some advantage. I can set the Cyclone, which would be kind of cool, but I can't really use Mass Change effectively. So that's kind of what happens. And so balance really does allow you to go into a more variety of plays and get you into a lot more of situations rather whenever you're going first. It just helps you out so much with that. So that's going to be it. I used all three of these decks, so to speak, in different ways whenever I was going from Legend 1 into your King of Games. I was so hyped. I was so happy. It was just, it was so good. It was a long time coming for Heroes to be that good. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you guys like Heroes? Do you guys like these builds? What would you guys suggest? Do you guys play Duel Links at all? Let me know inside the comment section down below. I personally am a fan of the Tie That Binds. It's just a nice classic thing. Plus, of course, you're playing your boy. You're playing your boy Jaden. It's super good. I'm having a lot of fun with it. And of course, on ladder right now, it's just the best time. Having so much fun playing these decks and having a lot of fun out here on Duel Links so far. And I'll probably be playing next season too. Maybe I'll try a different version of Masked Heroes, or maybe I'll try out the other version of Masked Heroes with Wildheart that I was trying out previously. It just depends. What do you guys think? Let me know inside the comment section down below. What decks are you guys playing inside Duel Links? What you guys want Cyber Dragons inside Duel Links? Finally, like actual Cyber Dragons. I'm just proto Cyber Dragons. Let me know inside the comment section down below. If you guys like this video, make sure to leave a like. If you want some more, please subscribe. I got a lot more videos coming in the pipeline, so stay tuned for that if you want to. I got a few more Duel Links videos coming out sometime soon. Just kind of explain my thoughts behind it and kind of go through the history of you know, the meta in terms of the heroes, because you guys know I'm a huge GX fanboy. So if you guys want to see that, let me know into the comment section down below and subscribe to get notified of that. But I will see you guys later. Peace.
Won't you rub your fingers